If you are watching this now, with me here now, this is an invitation. A moment ago, I was with a friend and we spoke into what it means to be a leader and to lead oneself, the principles of discipline, of structure, of commitment, consistency, and ultimately mastery. And as we spoke about this, it caused me to reflect, well, what really is my mastery? What have I mastered with all of these solar cycles of light in 40 years on Earth? And I shared some answers. One of them that he reflected was the physical body. Another one that was brought forward was stillness and presence. And as I reflected, what really is the mastery? I spoke into creation. There are numerous ways in which I, as a man, have created my body, created my life, whether that was in wealth, in the finance world, whether that was then in the technology world, whether it was negotiating with the US federal government, whether it was rolling out infrastructure across a country. There's a level of mastery across numerous different sectors in numerous different ways that I've brought forward. As a man that didn't have a science background, creating digital beings with some of the smartest minds on the planet, physicists, neuroscientists, raising millions of dollars of capital, and then giving it up to recreate myself in an entirely new way, learning deeper aspects of what it means to be a high-performing person, not just mentally, not just physically, not even just emotionally, but spiritually. And there's a word that gets used a lot, but what does that really mean? Well, to me, that means the full embodiment and the integration of your God essence as a man. There are many ways I've mastered many things. Another one is the acceleration of mastery. People speak of the principle of 10,000 hours, and yet it seems there is a pattern and a system and a scale to everything. And if you have that, if you have the map, you can master things faster. Sometimes the map isn't given, but can be seen, can be observed, can be modeled. And I seem to have an intuitive capacity to figure out the map. And it's within. And so as I reflected and sat down to record this video, I actually didn't know what I would say. But I knew something wanted to be said. And the real truth is, sure, maybe I built some businesses, made some money, built a body. I've traveled the world, had phenomenal relationships. And yet, if there was something that I have mastered now more than ever before, that I invite any man, anyone to master, it is the art of remembering what you are. And one of the truths in that I hadn't remembered for the first 4 decades of my life was that I am worthy. And the challenge with that is until that lands, it won't matter how much money you make. It won't matter how incredible your partner is. It won't matter what you create. It won't even matter if you've had a profound spiritual experience, maybe with meditation, maybe with an entheogen or a psychedelic. Until you remember that you are innately worthy by virtue of being, you won't receive the fullness of you won't receive the fullness of what you are. And so it won't matter if you have a be with God moment. It won't matter if you have all the resources. It won't even matter if you're surrounded by people. If you don't have within your being an awareness that irrespective of your doing, as a man, you are worthy. And therefore, there is nothing you need to do to get it. And until you have it, you'll keep thinking there is. There is nothing that you need to earn to be worthy. But until you have it, you'll keep wanting to earn more money, create more wealth, prove something to someone. And we'll just keep running around placing our worth outside of ourselves. And we do that as men. So until you have that, it won't really matter what you do. You won't feel worthy. And there's the paradox, because you think, so I need to be remembering that I'm worthy to feel worthy. How do I do it? Because I've been trained to think there are all these things that I do to be worthy. People get confused because there's worth and there's value and there is wealth. And worth is what you are. It's you. You have it. Can't be taken away. Just like a tree, grounded, present, still. It's innately worthy. And yet its value is so diverse and is perceived. We may perceive a tree to be valuable because we can create firewood. We may perceive a tree to be valuable because we can have a table. We may perceive a tree to be valuable because of its ecological ecosystem impact and photosynthesis. We may perceive a tree to be valuable because it is a potent conductor of an electromagnetic field that harmonizes our planet by virtue of its being. So we're endowing it with value, just as people will endow you with value too. Just as you are here and now asking, is this valuable to me? And is it valuable to me right now? To some of you, that will be yes. To some of you, that could be no. And yet none of that touches the innate worth of the being that is here, the being that is speaking, the man sharing this video. And none of it, even if you really feel this is the most valuable message that you could receive shifting into a new year, into 2025, today, even if it's the most valuable thing that you could imagine remembering by virtue of this transmission that you are innately worthy, none of that increases the innate worth within that man, even this man. Even if I am deeply reverent and appreciating that you had that remembering. And wealth, just as value really is something we ultimately give, wealth is something we receive. And the truth is, so many of us have placed our worth in value. So if someone doesn't consider what we have to say or to be valuable, then that can be an affliction on a man's heart. And I for sure have felt worthless for huge aspects of my life, just hoping that someone somewhere would see me, whether that was my father, whether that was my boss, whether that was my investors, whether that was whatever it was. And then to go beyond that into the space of wealth, which we ultimately receive because we give value and we simply create a way for someone to acknowledge that with money or another stored form of value that is interchangeable, crypto, assets, whatever it is receiving. Now, the catch is we actually can create wealth without worth because we are proving unconsciously that we are worthy by virtue of our wealth ascension. And for me personally, the more wealth I had, the scarier it got, because I just kept behaving in a way that wasn't disciplined, structured, or really even supportive. In fact, I simply behaved in a way to prove my unworthiness. So I would create wealth to be worthy with a woman or living in a place on the planet that is one of the highest price per square foot places one can live. So I'm looking for worth in status or attraction, and you can't find it there. You can look all you want, but you won't find it. And the more of those things you have in the absence of being innately worthy is a delta that opens up. And if you're not aware of why it's going on, that gets bigger and bigger from the void of your unworthiness as a hallucination and a distortion to who and what you actually are and what you achieve. And the more you achieve, the bigger the gap. And at some point, the gap needs to close, and you will close it. And you will close it by rising up in your worthiness through your remembering, or you will close the gap by destroying everything that you created, thinking that it would cause you to feel worthy, or some version, a combination of the two. And the whole thing just goes on. And deep down, we are asking the question, am I worthy? Am I worthy of love? Am I worthy of life? Am I worthy to even be given this body? And the deeper we ask the question, the deeper we get the answer. And until we clear the mind, until we release the matter that we consider to be the body from the bondage of the mind, likely it will be challenging to get to the answer yes. The invitation is to remember that yes, you are worthy, that no, it's not me that tells you that, because yes, it's you who remembers that. Maybe I support you in that remembering, but it's when you decide that you are worthy, in that decision, it is. So as we head into 2025, the invitation is to remember that you are innately worthy. By virtue of being here now, you are worthy, and that whatever you have perceived about the person you are, you get to let all of that go and just see things as they are, which is that the man in the mirror can set 2025 New Year's resolutions. He can plan what he is planning. He can do what he will do. And until you simply land that you are worthy, the frequency of those things will just create more chaos. So instead of that, here's what we need to do. Here's what we get to play. You get to play at being creator of your life, of your reality, to prove nothing to no one other than you remembering that you are worthy and you are here, simply asking the question, what's possible and what would that be like? As counterintuitive as it may sound, the mastery of creation is creation through play and play through creation. And whether you look at ancient texts from Sanskrit or other cultures. They speak to the illusion of this reality. And one of the best games we play is hide and seek with ourselves. So, will this be the year that you remember that you were never lost, cannot be lost? You are only ever found.